Welcome to Swank and Mentz Off the Fence, where Mr. Mentz and Mrs. Swank answer questions relating to whatever topics you provide.
If you are a student at GCHS, listen up.
Nothing we say here is the express opinion or view of Greensboro Community Schools. But if you have a question burning a hole through your brain, email us.
Who knows, your question might inspire us. Now let's get on with the show.
Mentz, we have an interesting question this time. It's, how did the military change you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few ways that I can think of, like just kind of off the top. Like we both discussed it. We didn't prepare ahead of time that we would kind of answer off the cuff for this one.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
I only thought about it for a minute and a half.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got three things that came to mind right away.
Okay.
Okay, so
Send it.
So it made me more resilient.
Mm-hmm.
The military, I think I was always determined, and I think these three play into each other. So resiliency, determination, and patience, which patience sounds like it's the opposite or kind of not really in the family, but because I had to give up a whole lot of control, and for me, control is kind of important.
Yeah.
Like in my world, I had to learn those three qualities, or you just can't get through. Mm-hmm. You can't freak out. You can't get angry and pitch a fit. Like in the real world, you can get angry and burst out at someone.
Right.
That is as close to as an impossibility in at least, I was going to say basic training, but I think ever, at least in the Army that I knew. And so, or in the aspects of the Army I knew, the only place in the Army where I felt like people could get away with anything was in the medical corps. And I'm not dogging the medical corps at all, but they had, from what I saw, they had a little more lax situation. But just in training and outside of training and in the everyday world, you have to be able to bounce back from things. If there's no plasticity in your ability to recover from adversity, you're going to have a very difficult time, or you're not going to make it. And then the kind of the opposite of that, or a counterpart to that, more is a better way of saying it, patience. Because if you're going to be in a situation where somebody is messing things up for your squad, your platoon, what you're going to want to do and what you do. You
said do.
I did say that. Are going to be two completely different things, probably, depending on the situation or your patience with. And I don't mean the kind of patience on civilian patience. I'm going to be patient with this person because they need more time, right? They need more understanding. They need more training. Now, training maybe in the military, but there isn't a lot of you screw something up. At least in my world, there wasn't a lot of, hey, you just screwed that up and I'm going to give you more time.
No.
There's you jack that up and now you will pay, or everyone around you will pay. But as the person who's on the side of that, like in the periphery, I'm getting punished because somebody else jacked something up. That, for me, that took a lot of patience to be able to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, an incredible amount. Like I did not do well with that. I was pretty disciplined going into the military, and man, I got punished so many times during training just for other people jacking up. Man, it really irritated me, but it also grew my resolve a little bit, where I was able to maybe coach those guys along a little bit more. Like, hey man, you're screwing me up here. Like, here's how you could get better, right? So that you're not jacking up our entire platoon for doing stupid things, right? So there is some accountability. I mean, there's something to be said for group punishment, although it sucks. Group punishment's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you there. Yeah. Resilience to adversity for sure.
And fear too. Like, fear plays heavily into learning to cope with and be resilient to fear and the unknown. I can't think of a civilian scenario that I've been in where real, resiliency it's difficult. It's difficult to pin down for me. I think you can tell because I'm stuttering a little bit. But like, um, fear for me causes I want to go toward it.
Mm.
I don't want to run from it. I don't love it. I don't really. Uh, I guess what I'm saying is when I'm scared of something, I want to go do it so that I'm not scared of it anymore. But in the military, you have like all kinds of things coming at you at once.
Mhm.
And to be resilient and to be patient and to be determined to do the thing or to get through the thing or to, cope with the thing or conquer the thing. It just depends on what verb you want to use.
Right. But you also like they train you that you don't have time to hesitate. You don't have time to even really, kind of stutter or go the other direction. Like you hear the gun go off, you go towards the gun.
Hmm.
It seems counterintuitive, but that's how you approach things. You're just, full charge towards the thing that's trying to attack you, and enforce. That's how you. That's how you get rid of that threat, and that is, that's a big change from civilian life. That's just not something that's taught. You go towards the sound of gunfire, never, right? I mean, we just had our lockdown training today, and that's certainly, I mean, that's not a thing, right? You try to avoid it at all costs. Um, so yeah, that was something that was interesting for me. I never really turned away from a fight prior to the military. I was in several. Um, Not that I'm condone fighting here, folks, but you know, it just seems it's different. It's it's something that you can't really explain to somebody who's not been in a situation like that before. But they just train you. They train your psyche to just do what you need to do to to get the job done. Um, and and that sticks with you too.
I was just thinking that, like from a student listener perspective. So we're talking about, oh, the military changed me, and here are the ways. But it's for me, it's kind of frustrating sometimes to be to have learned so much in the military, and then to still years later. For me, it's been a very long time, right? To still draw upon those lessons in my everyday life, and to feel like other people are like you need to be more determined, or if you were just more determined, you could do X, Y, or Z or whatever. If you had more patience, you could, and I have to be careful that I don't um, bring it too far forward and I use it for myself, uh, and to better myself and to keep myself in check and to do, but it's really difficult for me sometimes
Mm.
to not say, and to kids too, like in the classroom, hey, just power on, do
Right.
the thing, find that, or the opposite. Why don't you be a little patient with that?
Mm.
Because you'll learn something,
Right.
right? I don't know.
Yeah. Um, so a couple things came to mind there that when they kind of train the laziness out of you. They there's just like little habits that still drive me nuts. Like when people drag their feet when they walk. I don't know if that drives you insane or not, but it does me. Like you can hear them walking, like sliding across the floor, not picking up their feet. It's just like uh, something that just to me kind of says you're lazy. Like you can't even pick up your feet when you walk, kind of thing.
Like
Um,
it grates your nerves.
yeah, a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, I learned to be a lot more direct in the military. You couldn't really beat around the bush like you could kind of, and
There's no time.
you're
Yeah.
you're almost required to in this society. You can't really be terribly direct with people because it hurts feelings. But there's no feelings to be hurt in the military. They try to get that out of you early,
Yeah.
and you have to get stuff done promptly and with a deadline that needs met, and there's severe repercussions if that deadline's not met. And so you have to just with your subordinates, you just got to be direct with them, and I've learned that, and that's something that's stuck with me.
Yeah, because if you don't meet a deadline or do something that's expected of you, it's not just the consequences aren't just your own. Because the first time, I can't remember getting in trouble, like where I caused the trouble,
Mm.
but I was in plenty of trouble. But the consequences of not doing doing the things that you're supposed to do, uh, when you like drill instructors, yeah, you're in big trouble. But then you're also when they walk out for the night or whatever, even though they're still around, your 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 buddies are not happy with you either.
Right. Yeah. The other thing that I would elaborate on is just your like my what would you call it? I have a contingency for like everything. Any situation that I'm in, I'm usually thinking about how it might go one way or another, and then trying to plan my way out of it. But everyday situations like walking into a restroom, like bending down to tie my shoe. Sometimes I'm just thinking about different scenarios. It's kind of odd how it works. Just driving down a road with, no,
Do you think that's your combat experience?
probably a little bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just you're always battle planning.
Mhm.
What if this happened? What would I do? Kind of thing. And that is something that I'm not sure will ever go away. And it's kind of a curse and a blessing. It's just you're constantly thinking about things. You're constantly and unfortunately constantly thinking about negative things. Like if this went
Wrong.
awry,
Mhm.
uh, severely wrong, how would I react? What would I do? Where's the exit? Um, you know, where is an improvised weapon? Just those kind of thoughts that go through your mind in everyday situations. So,
There were some kids in my room during the lockdown drill, and they
uh,
were talking about where they would wanna be if something happened in the school, and your room, of course, came up, and this one particular student said, Mentz probably has a 2 by 4 that has, screws already drill like, sticking out of it, and, but it contingency, yeah. I wonder hearing you say that, I'm thinking, I really wonder if that's not a combat veteran, like, really heavily, something that combat veterans deal with.
I'm sure it is. And if there are any out there listening, I'm sure that they would agree. You really just as an infantry, personnel, you really don't need to have probably combat experience to have experienced these kind of thoughts and scenarios that run through your mind. It's just ingrained in you. There's so much training
Don't you
towards that.
do you think that the practice of, or training versus real life, in training you learn a lot, but when you apply them in the real world, in military real world, the most real you get is combat, that they kind of become ingrained.
Yeah.
That's a huge way. That's and to back to the question, that's a huge, change from Mentz pre-military to Mentz post-military.
An enormous change. Yeah, I didn't really consider consequences of my actions prior. I was disciplined and I had like a goal in mind, or I kind of thought about the end state, but I didn't really think about the different things that could happen. Yeah, I wasn't pre-planning for anything. I was just kind of doing things. Whatever happens, happens, kind of thing. I don't do that anymore. But I was 27. I turned 27 in boot camp, so I was actually pretty mature going in, and I was a little bit more resilient to the change that they were trying to kind of inflict. But I also grew up the son of a Marine too, so I got a lot of that growing up. I think I probably was altered. My life was probably altered less than it would have if I was 18 going in. Um, but still, it changed a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. What was the other part of it? Is that it?
just the tiers. You wanna do the tiers? We're gonna do food
Yeah,
types.
food. I love food. I'm a foodie. Is that what it's called? A foodie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This is gonna well, you should start because I think maybe I'm a foodie, but I don't know if I would call me no, I don't I mean, who doesn't love food? Are there
Yeah, I
people that
know.
don't
Well,
love
you know
food?
what? My wife, her, if she's listening to this, God bless her. Um, she is not a foodie at all. Like she could care less.
What does that mean?
Like food just doesn't
It's not a motivator.
know. And if it tastes good, it tastes good. If it doesn't taste good, whatever. It's just like nourishment for my body.
You know what? That kinda makes sense.
Yeah,
I guess I am a foodie then.
yeah. I mean, I really enjoy something that's flavorful.
Huh. I guess I never thought about that.
She doesn't. Like I like to take my time and prepare things. Like I could prepare something 4 days in advance. Like if we're cooking, a meal that I know, like I want this meat to be very flavorful, she would just, you know, 20 minutes before she would season it and put it on the grill. And
Same difference, maybe.
well, not for me, but for
No,
her,
but that's
yes.
what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
if yeah. So as a foodie,
Yeah.
number one type of food.
Okay. Yeah. I am a big pasta guy.
So Italian?
Yeah. And I have red hair, red beard, but I'm actually Italian. My mother's family is from Sicily. So I grew up with a lot of Italian food, very hearty. Yeah, a lot of pasta. Not good for you. Not good for you at all. But fantastic. I really enjoy just kind of just the entirety of Italian food.
When you guys get together as a family, do you eat a lot of like Italian food? Do you have a lot
Um,
of relatives on that side? This is not about food, but I'm just curious.
not really. My grandma used to make a real mean spaghetti and meatballs, and that came down from Aunt Tsitsi.
From Sicily, or what do you say, Sicilian, right?
Aunt Tsitsi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we still have that recipe in the family. It's pretty killer.
Do they make the noodles?
We don't go that far as to make the noodles.
I mean,
Um,
it's worth. So they
I'm
make the
sure once
sauce.
upon a time the recipe probably has like the noodle recipe in it, but we're all about convenience these days. So
Gotcha.
we're just gonna buy a box of noodles. But if I had the time, I would
Maybe
definitely do that.
when your kids are older and they don't need you as much.
Right?
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be my
Italian.
top Italian.
All right, two.
Oh man. Um, I that's a tough one. Yeah, I guess you know what I wasn't even thinking about is pizza is Italian, and that's by far my favorite. So pasta wasn't even part of it.
You can lump it in. I
Yeah,
think
I'm gonna throw pizza up there because
with one.
if you didn't know, listeners, that pizza is from Italy, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess I just took it for granted that I knew that.
yeah, right.
Somewhere in my mind, it's from like. Why do I think it's from China? Like, is that right? It's
I don't.
ridiculous, right? No, that's probably just a faulty wiring in my brain. But
Yeah, I
like,
mean, there is nothing Oriental about pizza.
no, it's not like I think that it's actually like I think way back in the day, like somewhere way, way back. Okay, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
That's okay.
I'm the one who mixes the podcast, and I think I might have to. No, I'll leave it in. But it's okay. So number one, pizza, pasta, Italian.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah. Um, you know, two's really tough for me. Mexican's great.
Okay.
I love Mexican food, uh, and I can really put down some El Reparo. Um, so shout out to El Reparo here. Yeah, I mean, I'm a burrito guy.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll spice it up, get a chimichanga.
So you have to say what's in the burrito, like it's part of a.
Okay, yeah, I always go with carnitas.
Okay.
You ever eat carnitas?
Yes, very good.
That's my favorite.
I have a recipe that I make carnitas from scratch at home, and I know that's probably. You know what? I'm going to bring some in. You have to try my carnitas.
Yeah, I'd love to. As I mentioned,
my husband loves it.
Yeah,
he loves it, and I actually love it. And most people that eat, I'm not trying to brag on it because I think I'm an okay cook, but yeah, I'm gonna have to bring some.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that I really love authentic Mexican food.
I had a Mexican exchange student a couple years ago, and she was like adamant that we don't have authentic Mexican food.
Right.
Yeah, which I was like, well, okay. She said if you put cheese on anything, Mexican's not authentic.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know.
And I love cheese.
There you go.
So cheese is going on there. I am unauthentic.
There you go. What about?
It's more like Tex-Mex, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your third?
I enjoy a real good steak.
So American?
Yeah, just
kind American.
Yeah. I mean, steak and cheeseburger, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah. Steak and potatoes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. That was kind of a tie for number 2, but I think it made it at number 3. Number 3 for me.
Okay. Fair.
But there's very few places that I'll go and enjoy a steak more than me making it myself.
Is that what gets slowly marinated?
Yeah, that's something you gotta salt in advance. Just put some salt and pepper on it. Yeah, it breaks the fat in it down. Kind of just pulls the fat into the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those like really fancy grills?
No, I don't, just a charcoal Weber charcoal
Okay.
grill. Yeah, it's my favorite way to do it.
Okay.
What about you?
Mine are a little. I don't know if that's strange or not, but here we go. My number one is Thai.
Thai.
Thai food. I love Thai
Okay.
food. And you know what? I really could do a lot of thinking on this.
Yeah.
And this is my probably. If you asked me next week, it might be a little different. But I have like kind of 5 favorite or whatever. But if I'm talking right now, Thai is my number one. I love a lot of different Thai dishes, and there's a great shout out to a great Thai restaurant in Columbus. It's called Thai Connections. If you guys are anybody, all the kids that they go to Columbus a lot to eat. Do you know this? I run into kids, Greensburg kids in Columbus a fair amount, especially Chipotle.
Yeah,
lots of Chipotle. At least that's where we cross sect there.
Chipotle does it pretty good.
Chipotle's okay. Yeah, they're really. I don't know. I think they're
too expensive.
Yeah,
that's true.
My number 2 is Cuban, and so
I couldn't pin down. I mean, aside from the Cuban sandwich.
Yeah.
It's like pressed, right? And it's got is it
it's Cuban bread. There's a lot. I could talk all about the Cuban sandwich because I'm a big fan if it's authentic.
Well, I don't really understand, but what I have very little experience with is Thai food and Cuban food.
Well, I'm gonna have
right?
to. We'll
so
have to talk
is it
later.
panini? Is that Cuban?
No. You see how I said no?
Yeah,
it wasn't like
not
no, not really. It was no.
Yeah.
I even had
it doesn't sound Cuban.
No,
but it seems like when I see the Cuban sandwich, there's always like a panini on the menu as well.
It looks like a panini, and then there's things that they think are Cuban sandwiches that aren't really Cuban sandwiches. In fact, there's a fantastic Cuban pizza, which would gross out like a lot of people out if I start to describe it, but it has mustard on it and pickles.
Oh yeah.
And ham and yeah, pork.
I've had a Cuban pizza before.
You have?
Mellow Mushroom.
Oh, yeah. I love Mellow Mushroom. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, there's this place in Michigan that has a Cuban pizza.
A lot of pork, right?
A lot of pork.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Shredded.
I'm nailing it down now. Yeah.
You are. You got it. But Cuban food goes way beyond the Cuban sandwich. I'll leave it at that because time constraints. But
okay, sure.
Way beyond. Okay, number 3. I'm going to call it American barbecue. Like I'm a big fan of the Carolina sauce, which a lot of people don't like, but a lot of different barbecue sauces. I'm not. I don't even think this would stick. Like this would be in my top 7 or something. But today, I'm feeling American barbecue.
That does sound good right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't like the Carolina. I'm not a fan of the tang, the vinegar.
Yeah.
I'm like a Memphis, St. Louis, real sweet.
I can do. It depends on the day. Sweet, spicy. I'm big into. I mean, if Thai food's your number one, you almost have to like spicy food.
Right.
But
curry.
I'm not a big curry fan. No. Huh. I do love Indian food though. It's in that would be on my top list too, but just not the curry avenue.
Got it. I should have put barbecue up there. I think that kind of goes with American though, right? My uncle is a fantastic barbecuer.
Barbecuer.
Is that what you would call it?
Barbecue master. Let's call him
pit master.
Pit master.
Yeah, that sounds way cooler. He's got like a whole room full of trophies. He's got his own sauce brand and everything in stores.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he have a restaurant?
He did it one time. I don't think he does anymore. But his nickname is Rib Tip. Rib Tip Tony. He's awesome. I love his sauce too. Shout out to Uncle Rib Tip.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So I need to say something here before we close this down. If you recall, you probably don't recall because it's been about a month since we recorded, but we were talking about Peeps.
Peeps, yeah.
And I don't exactly remember what I said, but I was like, I'm going to get some Peep facts. Something about
it's a great timing.
You said something about, I wonder how many are thrown away.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't find that statistic, but I still don't feel like I've completely let you down here because if I had a drum roll to hit a little button and do a drum roll, I've got some amazing Peep facts for you. Okay, here you go. And this Sunday is Easter, so no better time to give the Peep facts than right now. Okay. It takes 27 hours to make a peep. I should use different tense. It took 27 hours to make a peep originally. Now it takes 6 minutes.
Oh,
okay.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
Well, why is it so long?
I guess because it's gooey. I just made that up. Because it's gooey. Like that's my answer. That it has no basis in fact. Because you have to stir a lot of sugar in there or something. I don't know, but I like that answer, so I'm going to stick with it. Okay. Number 2, 5.5 million Peeps are made a day. 2 billion are made every year. I don't know how many are thrown away, but just think of the staggering number. Yes, and I want to tell you that these are heavily researched using the Goog. Okay.
The
The
Googles.
goog. The goog. Number 3, 40 different flavors, which I did not know. And I wrote down 3 of them that I found to be really interesting. Lemon sherbet. I'm not saying I would eat these. I'm saying I find that interesting. Lemon sherbet, chocolate. I can't read my. Oh, chocolate covered. I didn't know. I guess I've been living under a rock. I didn't know there's chocolate covered peeps.
I didn't either.
And then also, well, you were living under a rock too, apparently. Pancakes and syrup.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they had to spice it up because peeps suck, right?
So you said
40 different flavors.
40 different flavors. Okay, number 4.
I'm more interested now.
Right? They used to have wings, but they were removed in 1955.
They don't have wings?
They do not have wings. In 1955, they were removed.
Just a body and a head?
A body and a head. I kind of like the removal. Like somebody decided, you know what, we're just gonna cut those off.
Right.
Okay. 5th and last. Oh no, I have one extra, but 5th fact. They're used as a pizza topping called a pizza.
No.
They are, and some people eat them stale, which is actually a 6th fact, but I just shoved it in there. So, pizza. And some people like them stale. Now, I will tell you that I may try to grab some on the sales rack after, or the sales shelf after, and stale them out and see what that's about.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't get any worse, so maybe they'll improve over time.
Yeah. Oh, and then my bonus fact, which I'm taking too much time. World record peep eating is a guy named, he holds the title, his name's Matt Stoney, which is what it is. And he ate 255 peeps in 5 minutes in 2017.
That's unbelievable.
There you go. Yet I still don't know how many are thrown away every year.
2 billion.
2 billion a year.
There's 2 billion peeps in circulation right now.
I guess in the world.
Gross. That's awful.
Well, I did my due diligence. So
it seems like landfills would just be covered in those things.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people like them, though. I can't wait to hear the kids say, like, what's wrong with Mentz that he doesn't like peeps?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't really like peeps either.
Yeah. It doesn't jump off the shelf at me.
You think you could roast them on a fire?
Maybe. With the chocolate covered ones? That's perfect.
That would kind of drip and be gross, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Anyway, I don't know.
Okay, I'll give you my fact here. So, interestingly enough, we're already talking about birds with the peeps. Well, this is a bird fact. So last week, 2 birds flew into the window back by my room, by Mr. Kelly, like within a matter of 10 minutes of each other. Like they just smacked into the window. They both flew away, but it left me thinking, how many birds die from hitting windows? Like, if a bird can't truly see the glass and they just think it's open air and they're just flying full force into it, I mean, that sucks for the bird.
It does suck, yeah. They bump their heads a lot.
Could you imagine as a human doing that? Like not being able to see something, just running into it?
Just like walking in and then boom. Like people do that in sliding glass doors all the time.
Oh, yeah. I witnessed somebody walk into a Wendy's window, like just flat, like it wasn't there. Anyways, I want to hear what you think. How many birds die
every year?
And this is just from running into skyscrapers.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, each year.
Oh my goodness! Oh, so they just fall down onto the side of the building?
Apparently, and you're gonna hear this number, and you'll be like,
"I'm gonna guess."
Where are all the dead birds?
I have no idea. I feel like I'm gonna go with 1 million.
Yeah, you would be way off.
Like too many?
No.
Not enough.
1 billion.
No way.
Yes.
There's no way. Where did you get that? Are you serious?
Google search it. Yeah.
You used the Goog?
Yeah.
You think it was right?
I used the Googles, and that was the top thing that came up.
1 billion.
1 billion.
I'm a billion birds?
1 billion birds. And you're thinking,
so alliterative.
I've never been to like New York, but I'm just imagining dead birds all over the place. 1 million a year, or 1 billion a year.
Even if it's the worldwide, that seems like a lot of birds.
And they're not extinct. You know? I mean, in our lifetime,
that's a little astounding.
40 billion birds.
I wonder if people listening, they probably listening and thought, oh, I'm going to guess. I wonder if anybody came close.
Probably not.
Wow.
I wasn't close. When I read that, I about fell out of my chair. I thought those poor birds, I don't usually feel, but that's a lot.
All right. Well, there's a lot of bird death and destruction there. So let's do this outro.
Okay. That's all for today.
Remember, if you're a student at GCHS,
Email us a question. Yours might be next.
thanks for listening.